My name is Arlena. They tried to tell me it was a mistake, that I wasn't really left out of the European trip. But the group chat just vanished. My name was gone from the whole itinerary, the bookings, even though my credit card paid for everything: flights, hotels, the works. Turns out I wasn't invited. Was it a screw-up, or had they always planned it this way? What do you even do when the people you're supposed to love treat you like an ATM? Let me tell you what happened after I hit the cancel button. I knew something was off the second I walked into that hotel lounge. It was all fancy, velvet chairs, fireplace, big windows showing the early spring rain in Portland. We were supposed to be having a pre-vacation toast, just the three of us. Mom, my sister Loris, and me. That's what the text said anyway. Loris was already there, like flicking her hair and laughing a little too hard. Mom was sitting up straight beside her with this fake smile. A tray of champagne glasses sat on the table. They were tall and elegant, each one with a name written in gold script. Loris picked one up. "Cheers to us," she sang. I walked closer, looking for mine, but then I saw it. The glass with my name, Arlena, was already in her hand. I blinked. "Wait, that one's mine," I said, trying to keep it cool. Loris just tilted her head and squinted at the glass like she hadn't noticed. "Oh, really? Huh, I thought it said Loris." It didn't. "Sit, honey," Mom said quickly, waving me toward a chair. "We've already started." And there I was sitting, no drink in front of me. Nobody offered to switch. No jokes, no oops, my bad. Just nothing, crystal glasses clinking. I just folded my hands, trying to stay calm. My throat felt like it was closing up, but I knew my voice would crack if I tried to speak. So I smiled. They just kept talking. About packing, about matching outfits for Paris, how they'd be sipping wine in Saint Germain this time next week. This time next week, it was a punch in the gut. That evening, back at Mom's, dinner again. Same people, different setting. The table was all fancy, like some kind of holiday, even though it was just a Thursday. Mom, she could turn anything into a magazine spread. As we ate, she brought out this color-coded printout. "Okay, here's the plan for our little getaway," she announced. Laris helped with the changes. She spread it out for everyone. I leaned in to look. Venice, Rome, Barcelona, Paris, every single day planned. Tour, restaurants, spa days, flights, hotel rooms, and my name? Nowhere. Not on the walking tour in Florence. Not on the dinner reservation in Montmartre. Not even as a +1, I asked, trying to sound casual, though my voice was tight. "Is this the final version?" Mom, she just looked at the invitation like she hadn't seen it before. "Oh, honey," she said, "must be a mistake. I'm sure we meant to include you." "Right, Laris." Laris didn't even glance up from her phone. "Yeah, totally," she mumbled. I just nodded, plastered on a smile, and made my escape. The drive back, it was a mess in my head. I kept trying to tell myself it was nothing, just a little oversight, that I'd bring it up tomorrow, when I wasn't so, freaked out. But honestly, I knew better. I flashed back to all the times I'd upgraded Mom's hotel rooms, every single flight I'd booked for them with my credit card. I remembered bailing them out last summer, the cabin in Aspen, when Laris's card got declined. They knew, they absolutely knew. I kicked off my shoes, crashed on the couch, and grabbed my phone. And there it was, or rather wasn't, the group chat. Family Eurotrip 2024 gone. Left the group? No goodbye. Just vanished. I blinked, scrolled again, and then saw a new chat. Family Eurotrip 2024, and I wasn't in it. They didn't kick me out, they just made a new one without me. That hit harder, more than the missing invitation, more than the whole itinerary. They didn't even want me to argue, no fake apologies, no chance to ask what the hell was going on. They just wanted me gone. "You're so selfish." That's what my sister said, casual-like. I opened my inbox and typed in Europe. Boom, all the bookings I'd made: hotels, flights, dinners, all still in my name. I was looking at it all, every single confirmation. I stared at the screen, all the receipts and those automatic thank you emails. Of course. They waited till everything was planned. They took it all, then deleted me from it. I slowly closed the laptop. The screen went black and I saw myself, my reflection. I looked calm, but not confused anymore. I whispered into the quiet, maybe they didn't just forget. Maybe this was them finally saying what they really thought. The thought of walking away, it wasn't like giving up. It was freeing. The next morning I woke up early, my mind all quiet but totally wired. Like that weird feeling before your brain catches up. I didn't eat, didn't even light a candle, didn't open the blinds. I just went straight into my studio and turned on my computer. My inbox was still open, same as the night before. Same reservations, same phony thank you messages. And then perfect timing, right? A new email popped up forwarded from Mom's address. No hello, nothing, just a PDF attachment called Final Europlan Confirmed. I opened it. 3 pages. A hotel for a week-long European vacation. 3 rooms, booked with my card but my name. Nowhere, room 1, Velma Queen. Room 2, fancy Laura suite with a terrace. Room 3, TBD, maybe for guests, maybe storage. Guest or storage. That's when it hit me like a punch to the gut. They made me optional, like an extra suitcase. I looked at the itinerary, all color-coded and perfect. Breakfast times, drivers, museum tickets down to the minute. But my name? Gone, or maybe a faint ghost of my initials crossed out. Like they'd printed it, scribbled over it, rescanned the whole thing. I zoomed in, yeah, there it was. A big blue X slashed through like they couldn't even be bothered to pretend I existed anymore. I didn't explode, not right away. It was worse than anger, you know? This quiet, deep, sickening feeling. I just sat there, arms crossed. They didn't forget me. They deleted me. Later, coffee with Naomi. One of those cute little cafes, mismatched mugs, mellow jazz. She was already there, 2 cappuccinos. One with cinnamon, just how I like it. You okay? She asked, looking at me. I shrugged, trying to act normal. Long morning, I mumbled. She paused, then leaned in. Look. I didn't know what to do, but Velma dropped by the shop yesterday. Said you weren't going to Europe. My jaw just tightened. Naomi nodded like sideways. Velma said it was better. Like you're no help on trips anyway. Didn't say a word. She kept going. Said I stress people out, make things harder. I just reached for my coffee, you know, trying not to lose it. She really said that out loud? No, Naomi said, quieter. She texted me. I still have it. She pulled out her phone, scrolled, and showed me. There it was. Don't worry about Arlena. She's always dead weight on these things. Honestly, this trip will be smoother without her. I just smiled, that fake calm smile when you're really holding back. Handed the phone back. Thanks for telling me. Are you going to say something? Eventually, I said, finishing my drink, but not with words. That night I got home, lit a lamp, and pulled out my budget tracker. It's like color-coded, super detailed, updated every week. There it was, every single charge. Flights almost $2,000, hotel deposits over $2,000, tour and dinners $180, total $6,260, all from my accounts, all out of my savings. I clicked the tab, Europe May 2024, double-clicked and renamed it, for final payback. Then I printed it, everything. Each transaction timestamped. I didn't need to raise my voice. It all started with that comment, you know. The one my aunt tossed off so casually, I didn't even flinch. Seriously, I had proof right there on my laptop. All my travel bookings laid out in black and white. A little button glowing faintly said cancel all. My finger hovered, but I didn't hit it. Not just yet. Instead, I printed everything, the whole transaction history, and slipped it into a blue folder. My own handwriting, naturally. For when they ask, I muttered to myself, because honestly they always do. So I shoved the folder in the bottom drawer, slammed it shut, and sank back. The silence wasn't calming. It was empty, like there was nothing left to fight about, not even with myself. I grabbed my phone, needed a break from all those numbers. Scrolled through photos, aimlessly work stuff, old selfies, half-eaten pastries, even fabric swatches from client meetings. Then I saw it, an old album. Italy 2012. Years since I'd looked. The pictures loaded slowly. The first one? Loris, arms out wide by the Colosseum, laughing. I kept swiping. There she was, twirling on a bridge in Venice, clinking a wine glass in Tuscany, basically the star of every single meal. And then a group dinner. A long table, candles flickering, 3 birthday cakes being wheeled out. Wow. Happy birthday, Mom said, right in front of everyone. Oh, and Arlena, don't you look well, you look like you? I didn't flinch. It was my birthday too, you know, the same day, basically. Just 2 years apart. We'd always celebrated together, Mom said. 2 for 1, that was her line. But as we got older, well, only one of us ever got the party. I'd been there, holding Loris's purse and sunglasses. She was in the picture, all smiles, clapping, 3 cakes right there in front of her, each one with candles spelling out her name. I wasn't even in focus. No cake for me, no candles, not even a toast. I still hear Mom's voice. That night, I asked if I should order a dessert. Don't be dramatic, Arlena. You're not a kid anymore. But Laris got 3 cakes. I closed the album, locked my phone. It wasn't a one-off thing. It was just the first time I stopped pretending it didn't sting. Later that night, I was messing around with my bookshelf, and this little travel notebook fell out. Instantly, I knew the handwriting. It was mine. From that trip to Santa Fe when I was 14, I'd planned everything. Airport, rental car, check-in, the dinner reservation Mom was so picky about. The whole damn trip down to the minute. So what was it all for? Laris was off getting a new dress, a fancy one. Mom bought it, a little gift, because she deserved something nice. When I gave Mom the travel plan, she says, "You're just better with logistics, sweetheart. Loris's mind doesn't work that way." Sounded nice, right? Wrong. It was a total put down. A sneaky way of saying, "You handle the boring stuff, she gets the spotlight." I picture myself standing there, rental car keys in my hand, watching them stroll into that fancy restaurant. I'm checking the gas, parking far away. That's when it hit me. Not the hurt exactly, but seeing the pattern. They didn't see me as their daughter, more like their unpaid intern who somehow ended up in family photos. I sat there on the floor, notebook in my lap, and something just clicked. It wasn't anger, not really. It was like I finally got it. This trip, it wasn't just about this trip. It was years of it all those times my feelings were ignored, memories changed, all the roles I played so they didn't have to. I put the notebook away, grabbed my keys. 15 minutes later, I was outside the gym. Didn't even get out. Just opened my phone, found that voice memo thing, and started recording. "This is for me," I mumbled, "no one else." My voice was steady. "You're not making this up, you're not crazy, they've always done this. You just kept hoping it would change." I paused. "But here's the thing, Arlena. They won't stop because you've shown them you can handle it, that you'll just take it and keep going." I took a deep breath, But that girl, the one who always made up reasons for them, she's not around anymore. I hit delete, didn't even bother to listen. Just sent it straight to the trash, and the silence it came back. They've run this show a million times. This time, I'm writing the script. Friday started out normal enough until my phone buzzed with a message from Naomi. I was still in my robe, brushing my hair, the coffee still sitting there untouched. I saw her name and thought maybe it was about lunch. We hadn't connected since the soft launch like 2 weeks ago where I helped her with the cafe's back patio. But the voice message? It was short, quiet, not friendly. "Hey, Arlena, I wasn't sure if I should say anything, but I overheard something. Last night at the store. Your mom was talking to a friend and I don't think she knew I was there. She said, and I'm quoting, 'It's fine.' We used Arlena's name to get the group booking rate. She won't come anyway." I froze, brush still in the air, used my name. It just kept replaying in my head. Not borrowed, not mentioned, not given credit. Used. I put the brush down, walked to the kitchen, and just sat on the stool like my legs gave out. My phone was still in my hand. "Oh, so you're still working on that thing?" Naomi's words hit me, even though the screen was off. They just hung in the air. Used me, then ditched me to get a discount. Honestly, it stung. But I didn't flinch. Inside, though, my fingers were practically vibrating as I opened my laptop. I knew what I was doing. Before the emails even popped up, I was already entering the booking info and hitting search. Bam, there it was. Confirmations for everything. My business account. Tour bookings, hotel rooms, the shuttle from CDG. All booked through Arlena Interiors LLC just to get the discount. I remembered Mom saying something weeks ago, casually, about forwarding the itinerary to Larissa. Didn't copy me on it. I opened the PDF. It was the whole plan. Flights, dates, hotels. Velma was the main contact. My company name was plastered everywhere. If something wasn't paid, it was my problem, not theirs. I just sat there looking, heart still, not shaking. Not confused anymore. I was gathering evidence. I opened a new Google Doc, called it Trip Legal Liability Risk. Started pasting screenshots, forwarding everything to a private folder. A digital trail they wouldn't even know about. And you know what? Naomi's words, they unlocked something else. A memory. So, it was 2 years ago, and I scored this interior styling gig for a boutique hotel. I was posting about it everywhere online, just thrilled to bring my ideas to life in this cool, historic place. Everyone was telling me how amazing I was, like a total rock star. But here's the thing, I didn't even land the client. I did. The hotel reached out to me first. I was swamped, so I suggested Laris, even offered to help her out with her proposal. I gave her examples, let her use a couple of my mood boards from Santa Barbara and Monterey. She just texted back, text noted. Later, Mom ran into the hotel manager at a charity thing and, get this, took the credit, saying, "That's the kind of creative drive I nurtured in Laris." Nurtured. Like I hadn't been the one, constantly pushing Laris into these opportunities since she was an adult. Like I hadn't basically handed her my whole playbook and then watched her take all the glory. I went through my old design files, found the hotel's portfolio online. And bam, 3 fabric choices I'd actually picked out and given to Laris, used as inspiration for the hotel lobby. Her name in the credits. Mine, nowhere. It wasn't a new thing, but this time, it felt planned. Carefully orchestrated. I glanced at the clock. Almost 10. I switched off the living room lights, went into my study, and turned on the desk lamp. Pulled out the transaction folder and started a new one right beside it. Called it Proof Trip Fraud. Honestly, I gathered everything. Every single receipt, every screenshot of those sneaky texts, all the reservation codes, old emails. I even included the original pitch I'd sent to the hotel, just in case. This was way more messed up than I'd realized. Then I started writing the email to my lawyer. I didn't send it yet, but I added the whole file and saved it. The subject line? Contingency, just in case they tried anything. I shut the laptop, locked the drawer, and just sat there for a minute. No crying, no big sighs, just one quiet sentence into the dark. Not this time. The next morning, I left the house earlier than usual, needing the cool air more than food. I got coffee from the drive-thru, parked in a lot near the studio, and called Mom. It rang, forever, long enough that I almost hung up. Finally, she answered. Her voice was already tense. Arlena, it's early, is everything okay? No, I said flatly. I saw the trip itinerary, the real one, and the receipts. You used my name, you left me out. And now almost $4 grand is charged to my business account. There was a pause, but not silence. It was the kind of pause where, you could tell she was deciding whether to lie or just go for it. Oh, honey, she started. That word felt like a punch. You always overreact. It's just a vacation. You know how tense things get when you're around. We thought it would be easier if you took a break this year. You thought it'd be easier if you just paid and stayed home? She practically spat it out. You're blowing this way out of proportion, she snapped. And by the way, Lara said she'd pay back some of the hotel cost once she gets her bonus. We just didn't want you to freak out again. You always make things so complicated. That hit me, not because it was something new, but because it felt so practiced, so rehearsed. So what? I said, keeping my voice even. You just completely left me out of my own trip. There was a pause, then a little rustling sound like she was digging through papers. I can send you something, she mumbled. A document showing you're not going. That way everyone's clear. My phone buzzed even before she hung up. An email from Velma. Subject, final head count. 5 people, 2 rooms, attached was a PDF. All the names, hotels, flights, dinners. Mine gone, poof, I didn't scream, I didn't cry. I just whispered, you know this is fraud, right? Velma's voice got hard. Your family, Arlena, don't threaten us. Click, the call ended. I pulled into the parking lot and another notification popped up. 3 charges, one after the other. $1,700. Air France business class Portland to Paris. $860. Spa Jardin couples massage, prepaid. $820. Chateau Marmont tasting menu. All charged to the card I used for the group discount. I just stared. My jaw was clenched. It wasn't the money. It was the message. Loud and clear, I didn't matter. Only my money did. You're turning into a real ice queen, That's what my sister said to me. Right there in the doorway of my own studio. I didn't even flinch. Inside, the hum of the computers and the whir of the air conditioning filled the space. I went straight to the console, grabbed my keys, and sat down. Checking timestamps, grabbing screenshots, no more pretending. I was at the kitchen counter as dusk turned to night, the laptop open in front of me. My hands steady, I typed out the email, each word chosen carefully. Unauthorized use. Cancellation imminent. To travel coordinator. CC legal counsel. This email serves as formal notice of unauthorized use of Birch and Pine Design Studios, corporate accounts, and travel arrangements. All bookings associated with Group ID Munro Family Euro 2024 are to be suspended pending review. I changed my signature after years. Arlena Munro, founder, Birch and Pine Design Studio. Then I hit send. No big dramatic reveal, no last minute please, just done. I shut the laptop, walked out onto the porch. Barefoot, the sky was painted purple with the last light, the neighborhood was quiet, except maybe a lawnmower or a dog barking a ways off. For the first time in ages, I didn't have my phone. Honestly, I didn't care what they'd say. I wasn't waiting for them anymore. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of a chime. My phone, which I'd left on the counter overnight, was blowing up with messages. I poured my coffee, and the sun was flooding the kitchen, but my chest tightened before I even read them. Laris, of course. Hey, random favor, can you cover the villa deposit? Just for now. It's due this morning and Mom's card got flagged again. We'll Venmo you next week, they said. Next week? Seriously? It's the same song and dance every time. I sat on the patio steps, coffee in one hand, phone in the other, rereading the messages. Every single one for the last 2 months? Same deal. Casual, breezy, then bam, another money request. No thank yous, no how are yous? Nada. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I pulled up my text with Velma. Her words from Friday were still ringing in my ears, you know? You always complicate things. Maybe I did. Maybe I complicated their little story, the one where they just took and I just kept forgiving. I pay, they forget, I forgive, rinse and repeat. But not this time. Nope. I went back to my office, opened a new doc, and started typing. Line by line, it was like this. Reconciliation required before June 10th. Then, the breakdown, villa rental deposit $500, hotel overages $2,300, flights $1,600, spa and dinner $860, booking fees and my time $250. Total $5,500. I saved it as a PDF, attached it to a short email. Hi. Please find the itemized invoice for all charges linked to my accounts related to the trip. Kindly settle the balance before June 10th to avoid further action. Best, Arlena Munro. Hit send. I didn't even close my laptop before their reply popped up. One emoji, a laughing face. Then, oh, come on, you always handled this. Don't get petty now. Petty? That's what I saw. About the money I put down for a trip I got kicked off of. Honestly, I just stared. A wave of heat just flooded me. Not angry, you know, more like a weary, can you believe this? Kind of disbelief that someone could be so smug, so full of themselves. I screenshotted the message and stuck it in a folder, Trip Fraud Legal. Then I sent it to my lawyer. Added a quick note. Put this in. No explanations needed. That night, as the sky was getting dark and everything quieted down, I logged into the travel agency site. There on the screen were all the things I'd booked. Flights confirmed, hotels reserved, tour paid for all under my name. Still active. One by one, I clicked each thing and hit cancel. Confirmation emails ping, ping, ping just like gentle rain. Refund requests went through. Group codes deactivated. I removed myself as the main contact. I refreshed the page. A single line popped up in bold gray, all bookings canceled. I just leaned back, closed my laptop and breathed. I wasn't feeling like, yay, I won. More like, okay, I got what was mine back. Without begging, without a fight, without causing a scene. They'd feel it soon enough, not because I said anything, but because their plans would crumble. The phone buzzed again. Another message from Laris. I left it there. I went into the kitchen, poured some fresh coffee, walked outside, and just let the morning wash over me, and I said it out loud. It wasn't aimed at anyone just out there into the endless blue. I hoped, honestly, they'd packed light. Monday morning loomed. My phone? Yeah, I'd totally forgotten to check it again. That space, that distance between us, it wasn't planned, you know. It just felt right, like really good. The kind of good that doesn't need any pretending. The breeze drifted in through the open window. I heard the sprinklers start up outside. Just watched the shadows dance on the floor while I nursed my coffee. Didn't need to guess what was going down in LA, they were already at the airport. Then, bam, 6:03 a.m. Naomi's text. Girl, I think your mom's about to throw a shoe. I blinked. A blurry photo followed Velma, mid-rant, shoe in hand, waving her arms like crazy at the check-in desk. Laris was beside her, phone glued to her ear, face bright red. Another text. Airline turned him away. No bookings. The concierge, apparently, said their names were in the system last week, but the payment link crapped out yesterday. I set down my mug, a little smirk playing on my lips. No rage, no triumphant feeling, just satisfaction. Truth has a way of catching up, doesn't it? Even at 4:45 a.m., surrounded by strangers. I pictured them strolling in, expecting the whole VIP treatment, warm towels, champagne, the works. Instead, blank stares, a screen flashing, no active bookings. Everything, of course, had been linked to my account. My access codes, my agency deals, all the corporate perks I'd used to set up their fancy trip, poof, gone. I scrolled back to Naomi's picture. She'd circled Velma's shoes, this huge red circle. The caption, "Never seen your mom barefoot in public. This is historic." Then came the third text, and it wasn't so funny anymore. Some people think you sabotaged the whole thing, it said. The group chat's blowing up. Someone even said you're always jealous of Laris. I didn't even flinch, no reply, nope. I just opened my secure folder and added screenshots of every single text. Naomi had forwarded every single accusation, every whispered bit of gossip. I renamed the folder, subtly forecourt, just in case. Because if things got really ugly, if they twisted this to ruin my work or my reputation, I wouldn't fight them. I'd just show them the proof, and I had tons of it. By noon, friends were posting cryptic stuff on Instagram stories, the kind that didn't mention names, but you got the message. Stuff like, real family doesn't make a scene, or some people are just bitter they weren't chosen. Someone even tagged Laris, Paris won't be the same without you. Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the same anyway, because there was no Paris trip, not anymore. By late afternoon, my inbox was flooded 3 more failed check-in attempts. Spa bookings auto-canceled, charges on the group card flagged, authorization mismatch declined. I didn't say a word, didn't bother explaining, didn't defend myself. Instead, I opened a new browser tab. "You're being dramatic," my sister said, her voice sharp as she walked into the kitchen. I didn't flinch. That was something. I just kept scrolling through flight options on my laptop. Not for their trip to Europe, but for me, somewhere, anywhere really. A little cabin in Vermont, maybe, a lakeside place in Oregon, even a long train ride through the Rockies would do, nothing extravagant, just mine, untouched by their expectations. That evening, the world outside was getting dusky, the living room glowing with that warm, soft light. I put my passport on the counter, not because I needed it for their stupid vacation. Nope. It was because I finally had my own plans. I shut off the TV, pulled on my favorite sweatshirt, and just stood there, watching car lights drift by. They'd already planned the whole thing without me. Now, they'd have to find a way to handle life without me. The next morning, the sky was still figuring out whether it wanted to be gray or gold when I walked into my studio. The house was quiet, just the quiet hum of the refrigerator and the soft sound of my slippers on the floor. I put my coffee by the computer and cracked the blinds, letting the sunlight spill into the room. Then, I opened my laptop. No alarms blaring this time. No panic. I wasn't reacting to anything anymore. I was simply making a decision. It was like pruning a dead limb, not out of anger, I mean. It was just because it was suffocating everything else. I clicked New Email. It wasn't long, honestly. Didn't need to be. Final clarification, Velma. This email is to confirm the charges on my account from the last 6 months related to the European travel plans. All reservations connected to those plans are now canceled. As of this message, my Aunt Arlena wrote, I'm done paying for this trip. No need to reply. Brutal, I didn't even copy my lawyer or Naomi. No, this wasn't about strategy, This was about finding my peace. And doing it my way, hit send, archived it, then boom blocked both their email addresses. Not out of spite, honestly. It was just nothing good ever came from those inboxes. I sat there, took a breath. Another. It was over. An hour later, my phone vibrated. Unknown number. But I recognized the voice before she even spoke, that fake sweet tone. Velma, her voicemail started all sugary. Honey, I'm so worried. Then the clause came out. You've cursed this family. Can't you hear yourself? You're tearing us apart. Think this makes you strong? You'll regret this. We were a family until you decided to play the victim. I didn't erase it. Saved it. Named it Don't Forget. Because yeah, even when things are clear, you can still lose sight of it. The sun was higher, streaming into my studio, warming the floor. I cracked a window, let in some air. Leaned back, closed my eyes, another buzz, text from Mom. She's not well. This stress is killing her. You need to fix this. That one, deleted. No second thoughts. The script hadn't changed, but my role in it, totally different. You're the only one who can fix this, they'd always say. Guilt trips, sickness. It's too late to turn back now, all the same song and dance. But honestly, it wasn't my problem anymore. I looked at the trash icon on my phone and then poof, emptied. Later that day, I was out on the balcony, The street down below was quiet. The occasional lawnmower or car sound drifted up, kinda like the ocean, far away. A kid was biking around in circles, letting his jacket flap in the wind. I thought about growing up. All those times I carried everything, every single bag, for birthday dinners. Larissa got the candle and I got the bill. And I smiled. Not a bitter smile, but one of pure relief. Some things don't need a big dramatic ending, Just a door that stays shut. I leaned on the railing, watching the shadows get longer on the sidewalk. If they reach for me again, I whispered, they'll get nothing. And I meant it. A few days after that, I was on the couch, coffee in hand, scrolling through social media out of habit, really. I hadn't unfollowed anyone, just muted, stepped back, whatever. But something still got through. A picture from Larissa's profile, tagged by a friend we both knew. She was standing next to a brand new white Lexus, grinning from ear to ear, sunglasses on her head. Like a crown, Mom was there too, holding a balloon that said, "Happy birthday." The caption said, "She's always been my queen. Birthday surprise for the strongest woman I know. We love you forever." Tons of likes, hearts all over the place. One comment said, "Such a good daughter." I just stared at the picture a whole minute. That car. I'd bought it 2 months ago. It wasn't a flex, not a gift, really, just something I did. After Mom's clunker died on that winter trip to Salem, I sent the money straight to the dealer. They handled everything. I never wanted a medal, but being completely ignored again. Ouch. I checked my email, found the car loan stuff, the payment confirmation. I hovered over it, then deleted it. It wasn't anger, it was just done. No more keeping score. Honestly, if they'd asked nicely, I probably would have still helped. That's always been me. This wasn't about one thing. I left because they always figured they wouldn't have to notice anything I did. Later, my phone blew up. Velma, not a text. A call. Her name, it felt like an old photo. Same old Velma. I didn't block her. Didn't answer either. Just let it ring like a bell I'd grown out of. A second later, that red voicemail thing popped up. Didn't even open it. I dragged her contact into a folder called History, right next to Dad's number and that old landline we haven't touched since I was a kid. Letting go, it's not always some big, dramatic thing. It all just ended, That night, Naomi showed up with lemon cookies. She said they were a bit burnt, but okay. We sat at my kitchen table, a mess of papers, books, and this sad little succulent basically on its last leg. I hadn't bothered to clean. I just didn't want to. She made tea. I poured some wine. We were laughing, remembering old jobs, the exes, and how she once, and I mean once, thought a coyote was a lost husky and tried to bribe it with beef jerky. The laughter wasn't hiding anything, it was just there. Then she actually looked at me, really saw me, and said, "You look like you're done?" I didn't even flinch, I didn't. "I'm not angry," I told her. "I'm just not available anymore." Naomi just nodded, She got it, no explanation needed. After she left, I stayed up. I opened my laptop, not to deal with bills or respond to all that stuff, but to do something just for me. I searched travel websites, not the fancy ones, just a few simple rentals in Italy. I'd always wanted to see the Amalfi Coast, Not some pre-planned trip, but on my own terms. I picked a little villa tucked away near the cliffs. Private terrace, kitchen with old, tiled counters, a window looking out at the sea. Under the reservation name, I typed, Arlena Munro. Just me, no one else. I booked it. The confirmation email popped up instantly. Your solo journey begins here. I closed the laptop, leaned back in my chair, and just let it sink in. The quiet, it was finally okay. "You're so cold," my sister had said. Honestly, I didn't even flinch. They'd already decided I was the bad guy, the ungrateful one. Fine. Let them think what they want. For years, I was the one on the other end of every call, every crisis, everything. I was the invisible support, The one holding it all together, but no one ever saw me. Not anymore. The next day, I grabbed a bag. Not some huge dramatic thing, just enough for a few days. Passport, some journals, a sweater I loved. I set my phone down on the dresser, screen down. At the door, I stopped, looked around. Not a goodbye, more like recognizing that part of my life was done. I didn't burn the bridge, no. I just got off it. Before I totally close this book, let me say something. Not as a daughter or someone who left a screwed-up family, but as a woman who finally picked peace over needing their approval. I'd always been the good girl. Quiet, helpful, the one who made everything easier. My childhood, it wasn't terrible, but it was always about them. Their needs, their drama. I learned early on that my feelings weren't that important. So I kept them locked away, put on a smile, and kept giving. I spent my whole life trying to fix things, make them happy, make them. Okay, I thought that was my job. That's what I thought I was supposed to do. Then there were the times when I felt like I was drowning. It was like being in a room filled with their expectations, with no air to breathe. I was exhausted. Utterly and completely exhausted. And it all felt pointless. Then I made a choice. When I walked out, the fallout was, well, it was exactly what I expected. Accusations, guilt trips, the silent treatment. They tried everything, I knew they would, but I didn't go back. And you know what? It was the hardest thing I've ever done. But it was also the best. If you've ever felt like your worth was all about how much you gave, how much you put up with, or how quiet you stayed, let me tell you, you can stop. You're not selfish for choosing yourself. You're not cruel for walking away from people who don't see you. And you're definitely not broken for being tired. Sometimes, the most powerful thing is to do nothing. Just step back and let the silence speak for you. So, I'll ask you this. Have you ever been the one holding the family together until you just couldn't anymore? Or maybe you've walked away, but you're still carrying the weight of those what-ifs? You're just too sensitive, my mother had said, her words like a punch to the gut. I didn't flinch, though. Years of practice had taught me how to mask the hurt, to swallow the rising tide of emotion. It's what I'd always done. Growing up, I was the kid who felt everything, you know? The one who cried at the drop of a hat, who took things way too personally. My family, they weren't the touchy-feely type. They valued strength, stoicism. Showing emotion was seen as a weakness. So I learned to shut it down, to build walls around my heart. I bottled it all up. There were so many times I wanted to scream, to break free from the suffocating silence. Like when my brother would tease me mercilessly, or when my dad would dismiss my dreams with a wave of his hand. Each instance just added another brick to the wall. It was a heavy burden, carrying all those unspoken feelings. But Mom's words that day, they were different. They felt like a final judgment. I knew then I couldn't keep doing this. It was exhausting, pretending to be okay when I was crumbling inside. I had to do something. I needed to be free, so I did. I started talking. At first, it was just little things, small cracks in the wall, sharing how I felt, being honest about the things that bothered me. It was terrifying. The first time I told my sister how hurt I was by her words, I was shaking. Their reactions weren't what I expected. My mom got defensive, my brother rolled his eyes. But my sister, she listened. She apologized. That was the turning point. It wasn't easy, far from it. There were still arguments, misunderstandings. Some days I wanted to go back to the silence, to the safety of my walls. But I didn't. Because for the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope. A chance to be seen, to be understood. And now, well, the walls are still there, but they're not as high. The cracks are bigger and the light can finally get through. I'm still sensitive, yeah, but now I'm also strong. I'm learning to navigate this crazy thing called life with my feelings on my sleeve. I'm finding my voice. And that, I think, is the greatest freedom of all.